What is up, guys? This is Kai Blackflame, and I'm gonna be having some Xeno battles here running in the background while I explain as to basically the purpose of this video is to explain why I've been gone for so long. Basically, the short version would be that Hurricane Maria happened, and I pretty much had no access to internet, or pretty much the whole island didn't have any access for more than 80 days. As to me, yes, I actually spent 50 days here in Puerto Rico before I decided to move out to Lancaster for 2 months. As to if I suffered any injuries or if I'm okay, well, I would say I'm okay, but actually, like, I'll be quite honest, I almost lost my left arm during the hurricane. I also almost got other injuries as well. Basically, during the night of the hurricane, the at the first 2 hours, we actually boarded up the house. We reinforced everything. We make sure that everything was locked and tight so that no water could flood in if it was going. Yeah, because we were definitely counting on flooding, like massive floodings. So me and the folks back here at home, we prepared the house, and we had all the animals in one room, and they actually were very cooperative, to be quite honest. We were actually surprised. But anyway, the first 2 hours were, I would say, okay. Like, not much was happening. While the winds were strong, there was a lot of not loud bangs, but the house was fairly holding strong. Like, it was withstanding those winds. But then at the third hour is when things started to turn south. Because let me give it a little background. You see, there's a waterway at the backyard of my house that's connected to all the other houses. Basically, all the other houses have a waterway, and that waterway is for, so in cases that there's massive heavy rain, all the discharge from the mountain that's behind us, it would just flow all the way down the street. So like it wouldn't flood in the houses at my neighborhood. But what happened was that a few of the neighbors of the neighborhood, they were they recklessly misused the waterway, using them as storage or as foundations to build stuff that they weren't legally allowed to do, even if it was their land or their property. They weren't legally allowed to block the waterway. Like, one neighbor built an outhouse shed while the other neighbor used his his part of the waterway as a storage. And guess what happened? All of that water didn't flow down the street. It all ended up in my house. So we all started noticing water beginning to leak in. So we did our best to block every single crack or inch that was in the door on the house, just so that the water doesn't come in. But it kept coming in regardlessly. So we all in the house had to take risk, and my father, he took the biggest risk. He decided to go literally outside while the hurricane winds were blowing at more than 150 miles per hour. He decided to go outside and try to unclog the waterway, but he really couldn't do much, even with a sledgehammer, because it was just too blocked. So we pulled him out. Me and mom, we pulled him out. So we decided to go with the other option, was open up an old gate that was on the left side of the house, and that gate would lead to the crops. So what we did was we removed as much as we could from the dead crops that pretty much died from the hurricane. We removed most of that, and then we cracked open that gate so that the water can flow out. But then the situation, so we resolved a major issue, which was preventing the house from being flooded, but the other issue now was to get the water that got in. Pretty much remove the water that got in, so I had to pretty much hold the door open while they were sweeping out most of the water. But the thing is, was the winds were so strong that I tried my best to hold the door, but like it felt like I was up against 30 people in a tug of war with a door. like I was at a point where my left arm, I did not feel it at all. And I was holding the door with both hands actually. But like I wasn't feeling my left arm, but then I wasn't looking because I was just focusing on keeping the door steady. I didn't want to think of the pain or anything. I was basically trying to block the pain out. But then for some reason my eyes opened and I saw that well, basically both my arms were stretching out in a most unnatural way. But I felt like my left arm was taking a lot of basically my left arm suffered a lot of injuries. So after that issue got resolved and the hurricane passed, the basically I suffered both my arms they suffered temporary paralysis. And then I got checked out and luckily nothing snapped and nothing was broken. They said that I would make a steady recovery. I just wasn't allowed to do many feats of strength. Like I wasn't allowed to lift heavy stuff for a few weeks. But I healed up pretty nicely, and I'm very glad about that. And then after that, it was mostly just trying to make by with the folks here because Puerto Rico was in a very bad state. People needed food, people needed drinkable water, and it was actually chaos, to be quite honest. It was actually very, very hard. Those were very hard months. Very, very hard months. So basically, I was here in Puerto Rico for 50 days till it was decided that we had to move. So we moved in with other relatives to Lancaster. And we stayed there. As for me, I got a small part-time job. It was basically a toy kiosk at a mall. Basically, my job was to sell toys to customers, greet the kids, socialize with the parents. And it was actually a very, very nice mall because it had so many stores. And GameStop, I haven't seen a GameStop in a very long time because GameStop is no longer in Puerto Rico, to be quite honest. But actually, the trip to Lancaster, it was actually a very, at first it was a sad experience because I felt really sad that I had to leave my home. But then after everything I saw in Lancaster, the beautiful sightings, the scenery, like it was very beautiful. The many places to visit, like oh my God, that it like I'm like quiet right now because really remembering all of this, like it was an awesome experience. Like Lancaster was an awesome experience. As to while I was there, I really didn't have much on me. The only thing I had was my phone to play. Sorry about the microphone. Anyway, like for the first few months, my only source of entertainment was basically my smartphone. That's where I had access to YouTube and basically mobile games. But I literally hated playing Grand Blue on my phone. Like Grand Blue run like crap, even on a Samsung S7. Grand Blue run like absolute crap. So thankfully, I rounded up enough cash to buy myself a small budget gaming laptop. Luckily, there were some deals on Black Friday, and I got my hands on a Samsung, idiot, I got my hands on a Dell Inspiron 15 7000 gaming laptop, and boy, that was worth. It was worth the purchase. And that this laptop, it runs on an Intel i5 processor with 8 gigs of RAM and a GTX 1050 Ti, which is probably one of my most favorite budget graphics cards. Like, it is such a sweet spot card. And yes, I know I'm playing badly right now. I'm just focusing on explaining things to you. But anyway, it is such a sweet card that for guys like me who are on a tight budget, it is a very sweet solution, especially if you want to game on high def on 1080p. Like, it is such a good card. I love it. But it also includes 250 gigabytes of solid state drive storage. And this is actually my first time of experiencing the speeds of a solid state drive. Like, when I turned on this laptop, the speeds were amazing. Like, I was up and running in less than 15 seconds. And usually my desktop, this one right here, it takes like 3 minutes. It takes like 2 minutes to boot up, 3 minutes so that it functions properly, so that you can actually execute the programs. Like, experiencing that made me say, I gotta get an SSD on this thing. Like, I need to get one. Oh shit, gold drops. But anyways, it's actually good that I'm back because I feel like I can do more with this. But anyway, I stayed in Lancaster for about 2 months till we got news that things started to settle down in Puerto Rico. So basically, we decided to go back, and then everything started to rebuild itself. Everything turned out okay. So anyway, guys, I know I shouldn't apologize, but I feel like I have to. Like, I'm very sorry that I've been away for so long, and I'm very sorry that I haven't been performing much on Granblue. And I know I've been very lazy. That I need to get my act together and actually get a decent grid going. Like, I know I'm not gonna get some of the meta grids. I'm not gonna get that high tier DPS stuff. Like, I know I'm not gonna get that, but at least I'm gonna try to get something so I can defend myself with. But I also like to say thank you all so much, as we have gone over 157 subscribers, I believe. Let me check that right now. Let me check that. Yeah, 166. But to you guys that are still around, thank you so much for sticking around with me. And here's to hoping to more Granblue content. And here's to hoping that more gacha videos, to be quite honest. I actually enjoy those. And I'm actually thankful for this gacha roulette thing. It's actually a nice event. I really like it. But anyway, guys, look forward to more Granblue videos. I'm very happy to be back. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.